Welcome everybody to this tutorial about animating our logos, our Illustrator logos in Photoshop. First, we're going to create a logo, a new logo. I want you to not use the same logo. I want you to create a new one in Illustrator, and then through making minor adjustments with the path, with the layers, I want you to then animate it in Photoshop. I'm going to walk you step by step how I created this piece. And I really understand that animation is super tricky and takes a minute to wrap your mind around. So if you want to create some version of this, maybe different colors, maybe it's not an eye, um, maybe the stars don't twinkle the way they do. That's fine. But if you're, if animation, uh, is really tricky, feel free to use this as a guide to get you going. Um, Try not to make it look exactly like my piece, but if you if you make it look, if you use my piece as a jumping off point, I have no problem with that. Okay. Things that I like for this is I like that it's in a circle. The circle is just keeping um, one element in place so everything else can move, and I'm not getting motion sick from looking at it. So that's something to consider. Um, I also want to show you my starting image. So before I even got to this point, I did some research, I did some keyword searches, tried to find some imagery that I liked, some symbols that I liked to kind of get me in a direction, okay? And after doing that research, then I sketched this out, and it's in no way a professional drawing. It's on lined paper. I had some notes attached to it, showing, um, uh, helping me remind myself of my vision, in that this text right here is me telling myself that I want this rainbow to move from one point to another and then back. I ended up not using the hands. I felt that after it was all said and done, the hands were too busy. It was just too many things. So I minimized, to really enhance the focal point, which was the blinking eye, and the rainbow. So after I did a number of sketches to get to this point, I was ready to take it into Illustrator, and I traced it from Illustrator. So how I did that, went to new file. That'll work. Oops, I have too many artboards. So edit artboards, and I'm just going to delete the artboards because I only need one. All right. And I have my artboard, and remember I can put all sorts of stuff around the edges, and that's going to be really helpful in a bit. So the first thing I want to do is I want to place my sketch. So I'm going to go to File, Place. I'm going to find my sketch. I'm going to place it, and make it fit. Okay. So I got here, okay? Then I went to my layers panel. I added a layer, and so I tried image tracing this, and it just didn't really look very good at all. So I went through with my curvature tool, and I just created double click. I just created an eye. Okay. Oops. and click escape to get rid of that line. Come on. Okay, there we go. Click escape. For some reason, it's being tricky, so I'm just going to grab my direct selection tool and I'm just going to pull and drag. Okay. It's being a little trickier than I want, and that's okay. There we go. Okay, so I just needed to get a little closer so that my so that Illustrator knew that I wanted to connect that path. I think it's because I have multiple programs open on my laptop. The program's becoming a little glitchy. So just had to navigate that. I apologize that it took a little bit of time. So I'm just going to remove that uh, the white color. And I like my stroke. I'm going to go to my properties. I'm going to increase the stroke size. So now I have just my eye, okay? And I can now utilize my shapes to create this part of the eye. And then I'm going to command copy, and I'm just going to reduce the size, grab it, excuse me, grab it and place. Okay. Now I'm going to hide that first layer and just make it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Holding down shift to create that perfect circle. Okay. I like to add a couple of highlights in my eyes. And as you can see, if I click this arrow, I see all of my actions, okay? So I'm just going to command copy, command paste, and I'm just going to make some highlights, okay? I'm just going to do one just for time. So now I'm going to go to that ellipse. I'm going to select it. I want this fill to be black. I'm going to go back to my layers. I'm going to find that path. I'm just going to grab that, pull it out. Okay. And because this is just clear, I couldn't see it on the black background. So now I have this one highlighted. I'm going to fill it with white. And now I can place back in, and it should. Oh, wrong one. So I'm just going to grab and pull this one above this ellipse. Okay. Okay, and I want this ellipse to be above this ellipse. That way the stacking order isn't doing anything funky. Let's give him a purple eye. Why not? Let's do, I like that. There we go. And that ellipse is ready. So I'm just going to place this. And now I have my eyeball, okay? My first eyeball. and I'm going to select them all. Going to go to my properties, and I'm going to group. Okay. So I can now move it around, and I can always ungroup if I want to uh, do anything else with it. For example, if I wanted to just group the pupil and move it over so the eye is looking like it's moving, I can do that. Then I can select this, the outline, click Command C, Command V, or Control C, Control V. Now I have that shape. Make sure that it is stacked correctly. It is. So now I can come over here, align everything, and then I can go to my properties, select it all, and make clipping mask. Okay. I'm going to want to adjust the stroke weight just to bring it back to the aesthetic that I was going with. And now I have an eye looking in one direction. Okay. I can do the exact same thing. I will want to select, release my mask in my quick actions. Okay. And then I want to grab my eye, Command Z, because I want it to be perfect. And I'm going to hold down Shift and just select all of these circles, group them, and then I can move them over to here. Okay. And place that there. Select it all. Make clipping mask. Rework the stroke weight because it needs to look the same as the eye. Okay. And that's an easy way to get your eye to move. Okay. Because one thing that we want to minimize is inconsistencies in our various frames. So Illustrator is super amazing for creating this type of animation. And once we finish everything that we're doing in Illustrator, we're going to create a frame animation in Photoshop. Okay, so let's go back to my logo. And as you can see, I've taken some time to copy and paste. And mind you, I just copied and pasted. Let's see. Release mask. So I just copy and pasted these outlines and then created the closed eye, the halfway open eye, the fully open eye, so on and so forth. Okay. So I highly recommend doing that because it's going to create consistency with your frames. Okay. So now I have I spent maybe 3 or 4 hours building up this logo from where it started, which is here. Okay. So I recommend just do it in 2 parts. Your first part is creating your logo. Again, it can look similar to this if you would like. And then the second part is taking it into Photoshop. And we will just create a file on our desktop. We'll save each version, and then we'll bring it all into Photoshop as frames, okay? And we're gonna do that right now. So I have all of my pieces. Just for the sake of this demo, I'm not going to make the stars twinkle as much as I did in the animation. But feel free, you just, I'll do a couple. That way you kind of see how it's done. But, the more stars you delete, then Control Z or Command Z back in, the more it will twinkle, okay? So I have my circle. I just used the ellipse tool to create that. A whole bunch of ellipse tools and Command and Copy Paste to get just this outside border. So in order for me to get my eye to blink, right now it's just open. So I had to kind of think, where did I want this animation to start? And where did I want it to finish? I want it to start and finish with the eye closed, okay? So I'm not going to move this eye at all. This eye is my anchor point. This is what's creating consistency with each frame. So I'm going to grab, first I'm going to make sure that it's grouped. Oh, it's grouped already. So I'm just going to grab this group and I'm just going to place it over this this eye. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this up here. It's being a little softer than I want because the opacity is low. So I'm going to bring that all the way up. Okay, so if you see the opacity issues, a lot of times it's just right there. Okay, so I have my eye and it's locked in directly over the opened eye. Okay, and one thing that's really important to note, you can keep all sorts of elements up here. Like if you're walking, you could have different leg movements or hands, different hand movements up here. And the only thing that you're going to be saving is what's on your artboard. Okay, so that's really helpful tip to know. Okay, so now that I have my eye that's shut, I am going to minimize Illustrator, exit out of that. I'm going to create a new folder, and it's going to be logo animation. Okay, so everything that I'm going to save in logo animation, and that's going to make bringing it into Photoshop a whole lot easier. Okay, so now that I have this created, I'm going to go to File, Save As on my computer. I want it to be in logo animation. So I'm going to find logo animation, double click there. It's as an AI file, that's great. And I'm going to, this is the really important part, is naming it. Okay, so I'm going to name it logo. This is version 3 for me. Yours might be version 1, version 2, and then I'm going to type .1. So logo version 3.1.ai. Okay. Click save. Click OK. Going to minimize, and now this is logo version 3.1.ai right there. Okay. The next one that we're going to create, we're going to have logo version 3.2. Then the next one, logo version 3.3, and so on and so forth in numerical order. Okay. So now that I have my closed eye, my beginning, I'm going to bring this back up. And I'm going now to take my halfway open eye, lock it in, make sure that it is perfect. I'm going to File, Save As on your computer, logo animation, and I'm going to change number 1 or .1 to .2. Okay, so logo version 3.2.ai. Okay, save. Okay. And now here it is. All right. And now I want the eye open. So I can go File, Save As on your computer, label it 3, save. Okay. Okay, so it's just, you just kind of have to get used to this this process, okay, of saving, because you're just gonna do it over and over and over again, and it's going to be worth it. So now that we have the eye looking at us, now I want it to look to the side. So I'm just going to make sure it's aligned perfectly because we don't want any inconsistencies on our frames because it will deteriorate from the illusion of animation. Save as on your computer. Need to change this to 4. Click save. Click OK. Okay. Then again, we want this back here because it's going to move this way, but it's got to stop in the middle before it can get to the side. I mean, it doesn't have to, but that's what I want. So I'm going to click File, Save As, save on your computer, 5. Click Save. Okay. And now I can grab this eye, make sure it's perfect. Okay. Nope. Okay. File, save as, your computer, 6, save, okay. All right, and now I'm just going to grab that eye, bring it back to the middle, file, save as, on your computer, 7, okay. So now I want to, now that I have my eye, it's opened, it's blinked, it's looked to the left, it's looked to the right. Now I'm going to remove these little rainbow wedges. So I'm going to start by ungrouping that. And I'm simply just going to delete. Okay, and now I'm going to File, Save As on your computer. And because I started with the rainbow, I'm going to get rid of the, diminish the rainbow and then regrow the rainbow. And that's going to be the animation, okay? So that's 8. Okay. File, save as, computer, 9, save, okay. Save as, computer, 11. And I recommend keeping it kind of simple while you're wrapping your mind around it. When you feel like you're ready to make a figure walk or make a face talk or do something a little bit more advanced, go for it. But for now, if you just want to do things that are relatively simple but do create fun effects, go for it. I find that if we practice with small things, then we accomplish a lot more than try to create a masterpiece. You know, just jumping into it, because that type of thing takes time. And also doing this makes me really, really, really respect animation and how far we've come and just the process in general. Okay. File, save as, computer, 15, save, okay. Okay, and now I'm just going to Command or Control Z because remember that's to undo an action. Save as on your computer, 16, okay. Control Z or Command Z, file save as on your computer, 17, save, okay. Save as. It's really important to click Save As and not Save. Because if you click Save, then you'll lose all of this data once you close the program. But Save As is just creating that one file on my computer. Okay. And if anybody, again, has any issues with animation, with the process of animation, I really understand that it is difficult. Um, so if you want to schedule a time to meet, I am totally cool with that. Okay, so we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we're ready to save this. Save as. Save as. And I also find that being in a peaceful space that doesn't have a lot of distractions really helps my mind process animation and the flow of it a lot quicker. So save. Okay. So now I have my rainbow. It's all the way back. Now I'm going to make my eye shut, and then that'll be it. Okay. So I'm going to grab my halfway open, halfway shut eye. Save as. Computer. 24. Logo animation. Save. Okay. And now I can bring this one in, line it up. File. Save as on your computer. Okay. Save. Okay. So now that I have gone through that very basic animation process of just an eye opening, looking to the right and looking to the left, and then the rainbow diminishing and then reappearing, and then the eye shutting. Okay. Now that I have that potential loop, I'm going to minimize Illustrator. So I'm just going to click into Photoshop. And instead of, you can create a new file if you want to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack. I'm going to use Folder. I'm going to click Browse. And I'm going to find my logo animation folder. And I'm going to click Open. All of my files are in all sorts of not sequential order. So I'm going to click Sort by Name. And now all of my files are in sequential order. Okay. Now I'm just going to click OK. The one thing about this process is not only is Photoshop going to put all of the files into one layer, which is super helpful for time and process, it's also going to put all of the layers up here as individual tabs. So this might make your Photoshop run a little slower because you have so many files open. So you could, if it starts to act kind of glitchy, what I would recommend doing is just deleting all these files. If you look, these are all the files. Okay. Except for Untitled. Untitled is the file that we want. So I'm going to click File, Save. I want to save to Cloud Documents. I'm calling it Logo version 4. I'm clicking Save. That way I have all of this, okay? And now I'm just going to go to Photoshop, quit Photoshop, and logo version 3.1. Don't save, don't save. This is just a kind of an easier way of just clicking 25 times, because then I'm going to open it up again in Photoshop and I should have all of those, what we just saved Untitled as. Okay, so now I just have to get into Photoshop. And we're looking for logo version 4, which is right here. Okay. And now I have, in sequential order, all of my frames, all 25 of them. And it took a little time, but it took very little like muscle strain on my hands, especially I'm using a trackpad. Um, so now that we have our frames, we don't need them to all be on. So I'm just going to turn them off. Okay, just have one going. I'm gonna go to Window, Timeline, Create Frame Animation. Okay, and then I'm going to go to this little icon right here, Make Frames from Layers, and I can click Play. It's a little fast for me, so I think I'm going to add a few duplicate layers. That way it gives a little bit more breath for my mind to see it. So I'm just going to stop it here. I'm going to find, let's see, where do I want? Maybe add, maybe I'll add a copy frame and I'll paste frame. Okay. Now I have the same frame, so it's going to give it a little bit more time. Okay. And that's all fine. I'm okay with that. Okay. I want this one to be a little bit, I want that one to have a little bit longer time. So I'm just going to copy frame, paste frame. Make sure that paste after selection is selected. Click OK. So now I have the same frame, and that's going to give it more time. Okay. I want to copy this frame, paste this frame. Okay. And copy frame, paste frame. Okay. Copy frame, paste frame. Okay. And let's say I didn't want that frame. Let's say I didn't need that frame. So what I can do is I can go to delete frame. Delete the frame. Okay. So let's see what this does. So it's given the eye a little bit more time to look rather than feeling like it's too sped up. My mind has a chance to really see that it is an eye looking. I could make the eye look a longer time. Copy frame, paste frame. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to add 4 and see what happens. Paste frame. Just to this one, okay? Okay. So this is a way that you can extend time in your animation, in your logo animation. Okay. So I encourage you to experiment with that. And so now that I have my animation, I like it. I'm ready to go to File, Export. Where's my export? There's Export. And if I wanted to render the video to an MP4, I could click Render Video, logo version 4 MP4, and then my I have QuickTime because I have a Mac. Then I would loop that in QuickTime. Okay, so just click Render, and if you upload this, you did perfect. Okay, you can also let's see. So I just want to find, before we move forward, logo version 4, MP4. Here we go. Logo version 4 MP4 was in my animation folder, okay? And it's kind of fast, okay? But this, if you get this, you have done amazing. You just know you've done amazing, and you will get full credit. If you want to turn it into a GIF, then you'd go to File, Export, Save for Web Legacy. Let it do its thing. It's a GIF, is what we want. Click Save. Logo for GIF on desktop. I'm clicking Save. Here we go. So this is my GIF. And if I open it up, I've got all of my frames. And at this point, I can go into my Giphy account. I'm going to click my practice. I'm going to click Upload. I'm going to choose File. And I'm going to find logo version 4 GIF. Click Upload. And I could add tags like eye, rainbow, anything else you want to include, and then I'll upload to Giphy. And now I have a fun animation that I can share. I'd copy the GIF link. You can post this to the discussion. You can post the link, copy and paste it into a page, and upload it that way to the submission if you want to share your GIF with me. If not, just send me the MP4. Totally works. Whatever is the easiest for you. I just want to see that that you grasp how to animate, because I realize that some people aren't they aren't as interested in animation as others, and I want to honor everybody in this class. So do what feels right for you. The MP4 works great. The GIF works great. And again, if you are really excited about animation and you want to go further with animation, let's set up a time and we can explore Adobe Animate together. Okay? With that, that's the end of this tutorial. I really appreciate your guys' time, and if you have any problems with animation, please reach out. I'll schedule a time that we can meet in the library so that so I can make this process a little bit easier for you. Okay? All right, see you in the next video. Bye.